What is up, everybody? So, my wife Priscilla and I went to the States for the holiday season starting in November, and we just got back to Puerto Rico yesterday, here about middle of January. Now, it was a great time, friends, family, loved it. But what that meant is we left our property kind of in the watchful eye of our neighbor, but functionally under its own care. And so, what we wanted to do getting back is kind of do an update video of what our young food forest system looks like after 2 months of absolute abandon. Now, there's pros and cons. We've already walked around, we've taken a look at, how did things fare. We're going to go over what we see first, and then I'll brief at the end kind of the takeaways of what ended up happening. Just to give you an idea, this is our entranceway. It typically is this path coming up from the road. Our neighbor erected a kind of crude fence to help keep a neighborhood horse that wanders around a lot from coming up, because we did get a bit of our stuff chewed down from this horse that would come to the property. And you can even, as we go by, we got some various manures of animals. There's some areas where it's horse manure, some areas where it's sheep, because we had quite a bit of sheep come to our property while we were gone, and they did quite a toll. But otherwise, we had this area green and vegetated with sweet potato kind of going up the hill. Those are all gone in the sense of they're defoliated. So these are sweet potato vines. And what happens is the sheep came through wandering and they ate off all the leaves. So we've got some sweet potato vines, just barely getting leaves back. But the sheep came through and we had a lot of sweet potato. You'll see much of that throughout this little walk. When we left, these bean plants were just starting to hit the top. These are lab beans. And so they're kind of a perennial hyacinth bean is what they're also known as. And they were just reaching the top, and we got back and they are, you can see they're already producing and still all the way down to the flower stage. And we got a nice pot size worth of lab beans, hyacinth beans, that we're going to be cooking up with the neighbors tonight. Now this area over here was kind of a nicely mulched, well-tended garden. And if you're seeing all this scraggly plant, that's again sweet potato. This whole area would have been blanketed with sweet potato vines, waiting to get, we got moringa here, waiting to get harvested next month. But when the sheep came through, they just devoured all the leaves. And then we had chickens that also dug up the mulch. And what I like to say is we got chickens probably 5 years too early. We should have waited until the trees were up and producing fruit. So then as the fruit falls and as the other foods fall, the chickens are able to do more of a cleanup versus they're currently, like, we even got one tucked back in there, tearing up some mulch, tearing through it, getting all the insects. But yeah, so two months without any watering or management. We've got a Cuban oregano here that was in full sun, and it's hanging on, but you can tell it doesn't love that full sun tropical exposure. However, if we come over here to where it's just a little shady, this whole mass is Cuban oregano. So I've got unlimited supply. I use it for tea, but you can use it in lieu of thyme or oregano in your cooking. Love that. It's just really popping. We've got a papaya coming up there. This is really kind of a mixed garden of a whole bunch of different species. We got pigeon pea in the foreground, canna lilies. We even got some potatoes sprouting up back there, pomegranate coming around. So this, if you have kind of seen as we go through, one more plant showcase, we got a little mango. This is a earthen or earth bag dome that's ultimately going to be covered with earth. That's actually going to be a vent pipe. However, because of errors that I made in constructing it, you see that that's really leaning out. That shouldn't be leaning out as much. And it's like a mess in there. but there's part of the internal wall that comes in too much. So it's not a perfect dome. So it's a work in progress. You can see the sun after 2 months. These were supposed to be UV protected bags like that we used on our round home. However, they're not as UV protected because just in 2 months, they're already degrading. And but I need to actually take this entire structure apart down to like the lowest 5 levels and then rebuild it. But this is our latest build, guys, that we're doing, trying to really punch out as much as we could before we left. And we're really excited. That way, if people come and stay, they'll be kind of it's like a tent. It's small. It's 50 square feet. So right on there with like the square footage of some tents. But it'll be earthen covered bunker, kind of a category 5 hurricane or an earthquake were to hit. Then we could watch how our round home does while that's going. But round home, almost perpetually a work in progress so far. I've only been here like 10 months actually staying, and plastering's still going up. This whole area used to be vegetated. You can see more sweet potato vines, plantain, sheep came through, and that horse came through and they shredded up plantain. This tall sprig here is a mulberry. We've got sugarcane. You might recognize that. We got another plantain back in there. We got pigeon pea. Over here is Chester the digester, how we make our own cooking biogas. Pigeon pea in the foreground. We have a cassava that just got demolished by one of the animals, probably the horse. We've got a tropical gooseberry tree. This is another one of those lab beans, or hyacinth bean. You can see some setting up there. And that thing just sprawled. That guy was smaller when we started. I was just trying to get it to connect to some trees over here. I leave it alone. It takes over. Love it. Soursop tree, bigger, better. Tucked in right here, we got, this is near our kitchen, so you see some pots and stuff. Right here, we got guava tree, bigger, better. Up over the cresting of the hill, we got another mulberry tucked in here, bigger, better. The perennials, the pigeon peas coming up. Some of our lower trees are hiding in the grass, but they are still there. And further up, we've got on the second flat some damage from sheep, but our rainwater collection system is up there. We'll actually head up and just kind of take a look at it. Our way up, coconut got eaten a little bit by sheep. So you actually can't see it as well as I thought you would, but just up there we've got a bunch of sheet metal. Goes into a gutter system, into some storage tanks, so we've got plenty of water stored up from while we were gone. We got some rain coming in across the valley. See a little bit of it hitting. This was a cranberry hibiscus, broken over by the animals, eaten, and now it's just rotting away. And we'll go ahead and call it there. So as we walked around, we saw a lot of animal damage on the property. However, what was least damaged, you might say, was the trees. And there were some vines as well that would get up above kind of that browse level and then be fine. A lot of the crops that grow along the ground or were still short had issues. And so a couple things. One, for us, it tells us that if we want a resilient food system, that we can leave and have animals come and go on our property. A far more resilient food system is one geared around the trees. So we know that we're going to be planting more and more trees so that, when they come into producing food, we'll have a complete abundance versus really trying to work the ground up, get out the rocks and everything just to plant more sweet potatoes, which we love sweet potatoes and it's a staple for us. But to really not have that as our primary focus, but more as a luxury and have that tree those trees as the staple. And then we add on the vegetables when they're in season, when we're able to get them and plant those annuals in more of gardens versus relying on that for our primary food production. Now, for more of a general idea, what we see is what I commonly refer to as the cost of animal agriculture. The neighborhood, they raise these sheep for human consumption. And The more people are eating meat, the more demand there is. And, you know, it's the when you have the sheep, when we even have our chickens are free range. They're about as good as you can do chickens. We don't give them food because they have food all along the mountain and they do fine. We got plenty of eggs when we came back and they are still producing. We just had one lay a egg earlier in one of the places they love. Great, great way to do chickens. They have very much a true life. However, even just having the chickens means we can't intensify our mulch beds as much, and we probably go down a total yield of food production versus had we not had them. Or if we were to really be producing our food through trees and the chickens aren't getting what's in the tree or the low-hanging fruit, they're just getting what's on the ground. But especially those larger animals, the horses, the sheep, without them around, we would have suffered a lot less damage. But all in all, a wonderful system, being very resilient. We didn't have one garden that ended up destroyed. We have a bunch of things everywhere. So we had a lot of sporadic damage, but the grass around us is also nibbled down. A lot of the weeds are nibbled down. So it wasn't just our crops that got hit, it was the total system. And locally, the sheep will completely denude a hillside if given the chance and bring the grass down to stubble, and a lot of the soil washes away. So that's kind of in their open range extent. Given that free range, they really do a lot of damage. And the people who have them can't plant mango trees, can't plant soursop trees, can't plant these other things because of the sheep. And so there's that opportunity cost that we see, but also an opportunity for greater resilience moving forward as we consider, future times. If we leave the property, what state will we leave it in? And when we leave it, will we be comfortable with assurance that when we come back, the system will be bigger and better, as many of the trees that we have on the property have been? Or will we come back to more and more destruction? So keep with us, guys, as we do these videos. We're going to be reworking that dome, and so you'll probably see some videos coming out about the dome. But take care, you all. Have a wonderful rest of your year.